In the heart of a bustling city, where neon lights clashed with the struggles of everyday life, a small grocery store stood as a haven for locals. It was here, on a chilly evening, that Michael, a single dad, pushed a creaky cart through the aisles. His 5-year-old daughter, Lily, clung to his hand, her wide eyes scanning the shelves for the cereal she loved. Michael's face was etched with exhaustion, his hands rough from long hours at the construction site. His paycheck barely stretched to cover rent, bills, and Lily's needs, but he always made sure she had a warm meal and a smile to come home to. Tonight, though, the weight of the world pressed harder. His cart held only essentials: a loaf of bread, a carton of milk, some eggs, and a small box of Lily's favorite cereal, a rare treat. As he calculated the total in his head, his heart sank. He was $1 short. Just $1. He reached into his worn wallet, hoping to find a crumpled bill he'd overlooked, but there was nothing. His fingers trembled as he considered putting the cereal back, knowing it would break Lily's heart. At the checkout, a group of 3 young men in flashy jackets loitered nearby, their laughter loud and mocking. They were the kind of troublemakers who thrived on others' misfortune, their eyes glinting with malice. The leader, a lanky guy with a shaved head and a gold chain, noticed Michael's hesitation. "Yo, check out this guy," he sneered, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Can't even afford cereal for his kid. What a loser." The other 2 laughed, egging him on. Michael's cheeks burned, but he kept his head down, whispering to Lily to stay close. The cashier, a kind older woman named Clara, gave him a sympathetic look. "It's okay, hon," she said softly. "I can cover the $1. But before Michael could respond, the leader stepped closer, his voice dripping with cruelty. Nah, let him beg for it. Go on, man, say you're broke. Say it loud." The store fell silent. Shoppers glanced over, some with pity, others with discomfort. Lily's tiny hand tightened in Michael's, her eyes wide with fear. Michael's jaw clenched, but he swallowed his pride, his voice low. "I'm just trying to feed my daughter. Leave us alone." The thugs roared with laughter, the leader shoving Michael's shoulder. "Feed her? With what? Your sob story?" The second thug, a stocky guy with a scar on his cheek, grabbed the cereal box from the cart and tossed it into the air, catching it with a smirk. "Kid, your dad's a failure." That's when a shadow moved at the edge of the aisle. A man, broad-shouldered and clad in a simple black jacket, stepped forward. His presence was like a storm cloud rolling in, quiet, but heavy with intent. His name was Jason, though no one in the store knew it yet. He was a man who'd seen the world's darkness, a former soldier-turned-drifter who carried both scars and strength. His piercing blue eyes locked onto the scene, assessing it with a predator's precision. "Put the box down," Jason said, his voice calm but edged with steel. The thugs turned, sizing him up, their smirks fading as they sensed something dangerous in his stillness. The leader scoffed, stepping toward Jason. "Who are you, tough guy? Mind your business." Jason didn't flinch. "You're making it my business." His words were measured, but the air around him crackled with authority. The stocky thug tossed the cereal box to the floor, stomping on it for good measure. Lily gasped, tears welling up. Michael pulled her close, his own eyes blazing with a mix of shame and fury. The leader swung a lazy punch at Jason, testing him. It was a mistake. Jason sidestepped with the grace of a panther, grabbing the man's wrist and twisting it just enough to make him wince. "Last chance," Jason said. "Walk." But the thugs were too deep in their bravado. The stocky one lunged, pulling a switchblade from his pocket. The crowd gasped, and Clara reached for the phone to call security. What happened next was a blur of controlled chaos. Jason moved like water, fluid, relentless. He disarmed the stocky thug with a flick of his hand, the blade clattering to the ground. A swift kick to the man's knee sent him sprawling. The third thug charged, but Jason caught him mid-stride, slamming him into a display of canned goods with a force that rattled the shelves. The leader, now pale, backed away, but Jason was on him in an instant, pinning him against the counter with a forearm to his throat. "You think it's fun to pick on a man trying to do right by his kid?" Jason's voice was low, almost a growl. The leader stammered, but no words came. Jason leaned closer. "You're gonna apologize. And you're gonna mean it." The store was frozen, every eye on the scene. Jason released the leader, who gasped for air, his bravado shattered. Sorry," he muttered, glancing at Michael. "We didn't mean." Jason cut him off with a look. "Not to me. To them." He nodded toward Michael and Lily. The leader, humiliated, mumbled apologies to Michael, who stood tall despite his exhaustion. Lily peeked out from behind her dad, her tears drying as she sensed the shift in the air. Jason knelt to her level, picking up the crushed cereal box. "This one's no good anymore," he said gently. "Let's get you a new one." He grabbed another box from the shelf and handed it to her, his rough hands careful, almost tender. Michael shook his head, his voice thick. "You didn't have to do that. I can't pay you back." Jason stood, his expression softening. "You don't owe me a thing. Just keep being a good dad." He turned to Clara, pulling a few bills from his pocket. "Cover their groceries. And a couple more boxes of that cereal." Clara nodded, her eyes misty. The thugs, now silent and cowed, slunk out of the store, their egos in tatters. The other shoppers began to murmur, some clapping softly, others offering Michael words of support. But Michael's focus was on Jason, who was already heading for the door, as if he hadn't just turned the world right side up for a struggling father and his little girl. "Wait," Michael called out. Jason paused, half turning. "Why'd you do it?" Michael asked. "You don't even know us." Jason's gaze flickered, a lifetime of pain and purpose in his eyes. "I know what it's like to feel alone," he said simply. "You're not." With that, he walked into the night, his silhouette fading into the city's glow. Back in the store, Michael lifted Lily into his arms, her new cereal box clutched tightly. Clara bagged their groceries, slipping in an extra treat for Lily, a small chocolate bar. "That man's a hero," she whispered. Michael nodded, his heart full. He didn't know Jason's name, but he'd never forget the stranger who'd reminded him that even in the darkest moments, kindness and strength could light the way. As they left the store, Lily looked up at her dad. "Is that man coming back?" she asked. Michael smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Maybe, sweetheart. But we'll be okay either way." And for the first time in a long while, he believed it.